It all began with a simple question, one that crept into my mind as I stood in the quiet of my garden, surrounded by the gentle hum of morning. What if the things we so casually toss away could actually hold the secret to a thriving garden? I glanced at a handful of what most people would call rubbish: eggshells, coffee grounds, and vegetable peels. These scraps, destined for the bin, suddenly seemed to hold untapped potential. In my kitchen, with the golden morning sun streaming through the window, I cradled the remnants of breakfast. Eggshells, fragile and chalky in my palm. I wondered, could these humble leftovers really make a difference? For years, gardeners have whispered their secrets. "Don't throw those away," they'd say. "Eggshells are gold for the garden." I'd always been skeptical, but their conviction lingered in my mind. Driven by curiosity, I decided to put this old wisdom to the test. I planned a simple 30-day experiment, determined to see for myself if there was any truth behind the legend. I carefully buried crushed eggshells around the base of one young tomato plant, while its identical twin, just inches away, was left untouched. Each day, I watched and waited, eager for any sign of change. 30 days later, the results were nothing short of astonishing. The difference between the two plants was clear, even to the untrained eye. The eggshell-treated plant stood taller, its leaves a deep, vibrant green, and its stem noticeably thicker and stronger than its siblings. It seemed to radiate health and vitality. Up close, the transformation was even more dramatic. The leaves were lush and full, the stem sturdy, and the plant looked as if it had been given a secret boost of energy. I had expected a minor improvement at best, maybe a slightly greener leaf or a bit more growth. But what I witnessed was a complete transformation, one that challenged everything I thought I knew about garden care. Suddenly, every eggshell I cracked became a treasure, not trash. I started saving them religiously, seeing them as tiny vessels of possibility for my plants. The results made me rethink everything I was throwing away. What else in my kitchen could be quietly nourishing my garden, if only I gave it a chance? Maybe the best gardening solutions aren't found in expensive bottles or fancy packaging, but right on our countertops, disguised as everyday waste. Sometimes the simplest tools, like breakfast leftovers, hold the power to unlock the most surprising garden magic. It's a reminder that nature's wisdom is often hiding in plain sight, just waiting for us to notice. Eggshells in the garden spark fierce debate. Some gardeners swear by them, others scoff. Believers see eggshells as a natural, cost-free boost. Skeptics call it an old wives' tale. I wanted real answers, so I set out to test the myth myself. Was it miracle or myth? The truth, I hoped, was buried just beneath the soil. To be fair, I needed a methodical experiment. I saved, rinsed, and dried eggshells, then crushed them into a fine powder. 2 identical tomato plants, 2 identical pots, same soil, same care. One plant got 2 tablespoons of crushed eggshells mixed into its soil. The other got nothing extra. Both sat side by side in the sun, watered equally. The only difference? Eggshells. Any change would be thanks to those humble shells. My stage was set, my actors in place. Now it was time to watch and wait. Would the eggshells make a real difference? What's in an eggshell? Mostly calcium carbonate, about 95%. Calcium is vital for plants, helping build strong cell walls and supporting growth. Without enough, plants get weak stems and stunted growth. Calcium also prevents blossom end rot, a common problem in tomatoes and peppers. Crushed eggshells provide a slow-release source of this essential nutrient. As they break down, they feed the plant steadily. It's not a quick fix, but a long-term investment in plant health. Nature's way of packaging nutrients in the simplest form. At the start, both tomato plants looked exactly the same. Two hopeful seedlings, side by side in their pots, indistinguishable in their early promise. I set them in the same patch of sunlight, watered them equally, and waited. The first week passed with no visible difference. Every morning, I'd check for any sign of change, but both plants remained identical, their leaves reaching upward with the same quiet determination. I couldn't help but wonder if the skeptics were right. Maybe eggshells wouldn't make any difference at all. Doubt crept in as I watched, searching for any hint of progress. But then, around day 10, something subtle caught my eye. The plant with eggshells at its base began to show new leaves that were a noticeably deeper, richer green. It was a small change, but it felt significant, a quiet signal that something was happening beneath the surface. By the third week, the differences became more pronounced. The eggshell plant stood taller, its stem thickening and growing stronger. More side shoots appeared, branching out with confidence, as if the plant was eager to claim its space in the garden. Its leaves were lush, vibrant, and full of life, easily outpacing the control plant. The contrast was becoming hard to ignore. The eggshell plant seemed to radiate health, while the other lagged behind. By the final week, the transformation was undeniable. The eggshell plant had grown bushier, its branches thick with foliage, and tiny flower buds had started to form, promising fruit to come. It was thriving in a way that was impossible to miss. Meanwhile, the control plant remained healthy, but it was clearly less vigorous. Smaller, with fewer leaves and no sign of flowers yet. The difference between the two was striking. Watching them side by side over 30 days, I witnessed a quiet but remarkable transformation. Each day brought subtle changes, and together, they added up to something extraordinary. What began as two identical seedlings had, in just a month, become two very different plants, one thriving, the other simply surviving. The eggshells, once just kitchen scraps, were clearly making their mark, nourishing the soil and supporting new growth in ways I could see and measure. Sometimes, the magic of the garden unfolds slowly, almost imperceptibly, but when you look back, the results are undeniable. Nature rewards patience and careful observation. My daily notes captured every stage of this journey, a powerful, visible change that proved even small experiments can reveal nature's quiet wonders. On day 30, I carefully placed the two pots side by side on the garden table, eager to see the results of my little experiment. The anticipation had been building for weeks, and now, finally, I could compare the plants directly, under the same light and conditions. It was a moment I'd been waiting for since the seeds first sprouted. The difference was immediately obvious. The plant grown with eggshells stood a full 3 inches taller than the control, its stem noticeably thicker, almost twice the width. It looked robust and sturdy, as if it could weather any storm, while the other plant seemed delicate by comparison. The eggshell plant's leaves were a sight to behold, larger, glossier, and a rich, deep green. There wasn't a single yellow patch or blemish in sight. Each leaf seemed to catch the sunlight, reflecting a healthy sheen that spoke of strong growth and vitality. In contrast, the control plant looked rather ordinary. Some of its leaves were pale with hints of yellowing, and there were no signs of flowers or new growth. It seemed to be struggling, just managing to get by, lacking the vibrancy of its neighbor. The eggshell plant, on the other hand, was bushier, with more side shoots branching out in every direction. To my delight, I even spotted tiny flower buds forming, a clear sign that the plant was not just surviving, but truly thriving. The contrast between the two was dramatic. One plant was bursting with life, its leaves and stems strong and healthy, while the other seemed to be just hanging on. It was as if the eggshells had given one plant a secret advantage, a boost that made all the difference. All it took was the simple addition of crushed eggshells to the soil. That small change had accelerated the plant's growth and improved its overall health in ways I hadn't expected. The results were undeniable. It turns out, the old advice about using eggshells in the garden wasn't just a myth or an old wives' tale. There was real, tangible power in those shells, enough to transform an average plant into a thriving, beautiful specimen. The visual evidence was overwhelming. Side by side, the difference was impossible to ignore. Anyone could see which plant had the advantage. My garden had become living proof of the power of simple, natural solutions. Sometimes the smallest changes can yield the most remarkable results. Eggshells break down slowly, unlike fast-acting fertilizers. Crushed shells create a long-term calcium reserve in the soil. Soil microbes and natural acids gradually release the calcium for plant roots. This steady supply prevents nutrient shock and blossom end rot. Eggshells also help balance soil pH, making nutrients more available. It's a gentle, natural way to feed plants and improve soil health. The plant takes what it needs when it needs it. Sometimes, slow and steady really does win the race. Not all plants want extra calcium. Acid-loving plants, like rhododendrons, azaleas, and blueberries, prefer acidic soil. Adding eggshells can raise pH and harm these plants. For them, skip the shells. But tomatoes, peppers, leafy greens, and brassicas thrive with a calcium boost. Always research your plant's needs before adding amendments. Start small, use clean, crushed shells, and observe. The right match makes all the difference. My eggshell experiment taught me more than a gardening trick. It changed how I see waste. What we call trash can be garden treasure. Saving and using eggshells felt empowering, connecting my kitchen and garden in a natural cycle. Every shell became an investment in future harvests. Now, I wonder what other kitchen scraps hold hidden magic. The garden is my laboratory, and curiosity is my guide. Before tossing anything, I ask, could this help my garden? Start small, try your own experiment. You might be surprised by the results. Sometimes the line between trash and treasure is just a matter of perspective.